And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Welcome to News 12 Now for this Thursday, May 1st. I'm Annette Campbell. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz will soon depart the Trump administration. A source familiar with what happened says it was made clear to Waltz earlier this week that his time leading the National Security Council has come to an end. Waltz has been on shaky ground since he inadvertently added a reporter to an unsecured group chat about military strikes. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, a real estate developer and friend of President Donald Trump, is under consideration to replace Waltz. Detainees at an immigrant detention center in Texas sent out a call for help to the outside world. 31 men being held at the Blue Bonnet Immigrant Detention Center just north of Abilene formed an SOS message Monday. According to a Reuters report, dozens of Venezuelan detainees at the facility were accused by immigration agents of being gang members, and they could face deportation. The families of 7 detainees deny the accusations. The U.S. Supreme Court has made religious liberty a key part of its docket this term, with 3 cases testing the constitutional limits of faith in the public arena. Yesterday, the issue was about whether Oklahoma can contract with a religious charter school using public funds. Kevin Cork has details on the oral arguments.
St. Isidore of Seville wants to become the nation's first taxpayer-funded religious charter school. At issue at the Supreme Court, does that violate the Constitution's ban on an establishment of religion by the government? The justices have previously said public money can go to religious institutions for the same kind of services and activities non-sectarian groups might provide, like food banks. But in oral arguments, the court appeared divided on applying that to the classroom setting, with the Catholic school wanting to teach not only basic curriculum like traditional public schools, but a religion-focused education.
You can't treat religious people and religious institutions and religious speech as second class in the United States.
The essence of the Establishment Clause was, we're not going to pay religious leaders to teach their religion.
Oklahoma officials are divided on whether St. Isidore, formed by the Archdiocese in Oklahoma City, should be part of the state's charter school system. The High Court's conservative majority appearing to side with the school, with only Chief Justice John Roberts' vote in doubt. He asked tough questions of both sides, including whether such religious charter schools are public or private.
Is your test, it's a creation and creature of the state. We held that under the First Amendment, you couldn't exclude people because of their religious belief.
Justice Barrett is not participating in the case, leaving open the possibility of a 4-4 tie. If that happens, no precedent is set, and the lower court ruling stands, meaning no state charter for St. Isidore. In Washington, Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Well, we had a lot of rain yesterday, so even though it's nice and sunny out there right now, still be careful of flooding roads out there. And then it doesn't help that we're getting more rain tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. It just won't stop, and more severe weather with that as well. Overall tornado threat, though, should be low. We'll keep an eye on it. But really, it's kind of a tale of 2 states right now because Red River is dividing us. South of it, it's still pretty gloomy as of this afternoon. A live look at your TMC tower cam. Yeah, a little sad, unfortunately, but then turns much happier into southern Oklahoma. Live look at your East Central University tower cam. So, hey, it's exactly what they needed, though, because they've been just battered with some very, very heavy rain through the last couple of weeks of April. So they're drying out, but it would be nice if the sun could come out south of the Red River, which it may, but it may not. We'll see. Either way, 70s where it's sunny, 60s where it's not. Either way, fairly comfortable. But what's uncomfortable is this severe weather threat. We were hoping that this was not going to be the case, but looks like we have upgraded our severe weather threat primarily after midnight tonight, carrying in through your morning commute tomorrow. Damaging winds will be the main threats, but of course we could be dealing with hail and an isolated tornado. We'll talk about what we're looking at and how much rain we're going to get on top of everything else we've got in your full forecast coming up here in a little bit. But back to you, Annette.
All right, thanks, Brian. In central Oklahoma, 1 person is dead after their vehicle was swept off a flooded road. This is in Macomb, about an hour southeast of Oklahoma City. Authorities said a Pottawatomie County deputy attempted to rescue the person, but became stuck himself and had to be rescued. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay, but the person in the vehicle was trapped and could not be rescued in time. Yesterday's heavy rains could create more flooding issues in the future for several southern Oklahoma counties. News 12's Jerry Vaughn reports from the areas that were the most impacted yesterday and are the most vulnerable tonight.
Flooding has forced the closure of 11 roads across Garvin County as the Ouachita River is expected to crest at 31 feet overnight. Elmore City Schools canceled classes Wednesday due to impassable roads. Emergency managers are urging drivers to avoid driving through high waters and say sandbags are available to residents at the Pauls Valley Fire and Lindsay Police Departments. In Carter County, floodwaters covered parts of Highway 53 and washed out the east end of Gilmer Street in Hilton. Heavy rains from 2 storms this month caused extensive flooding and erosion damage at Turner Falls Park in Murray County, forcing its closure through this weekend until crews can dredge out debris from the pools.
Anything that gets washed down creek gets deposited into the deeper water of the pools. All that debris builds up and it makes it unsafe for people to get in.
Rising waters of nearby Honey Creek combined with already saturated ground levels have made the park more vulnerable to flooding.
What normally would take 3 to 4 inches for us to flood, now we're looking at ½ an inch to an inch of rain to bring the springs back up to their flooding levels.
Turner Falls is expecting to reopen next week for single-day admission only. Camping and lodging remain closed until waters can recede.
It's all going to depend on rain next week and what the water levels do. It will affect the safety of people getting in the water for one, but two, it affects whether or not we can get trucks in and out.
Reporting, Jerry Vaughn, News 12.
Have some consumer headlines you'll want to know. U.S. manufacturing contracted in April as production fell to its lowest level since 2020. That's according to the latest manufacturing survey from the Institute for Supply Management. Several of the survey's respondent companies pointed to uncertainty stemming from U.S. tariffs. Kohl's quickly cut its new CEO after less than 5 months. The firing comes after an investigation found Ashley Buchanan made vendor deals that would personally benefit him. Kohl's officials say this termination had nothing to do with the company's current performance, which includes the recent closings of 27 stores. It turns out Forever ended today for Forever 21. All 354 of the retailer's U.S. locations are now closed, shuttering all stores as a result of the company's bankruptcy filing earlier this year. According to the Forever 21 website, its international stores are still open. Now, rodeo legend and Hall of Fame cowboy Roy Cooper has died in a fire at his home in Decatur Tuesday night. His family confirmed the news on social media. Cooper, nicknamed the Super Looper, is a Southeastern Oklahoma State University alum where he competed on the rodeo team before going pro. His rodeo career spanned 3 decades with 8 world championships in tie-down roping and steer roping. He called Durant his home for more than a decade. Roy Cooper was 69 years old. A well-known Texoma entrepreneur, Charlie Watson, died this week. News 12's Talia Munson spoke with Denison officials about Watson's mark on Texoma.
For decades, Charlie Watson was well known throughout Texoma.
At one time, he had over 14 restaurants operating from Ardmore to Durant to Denison, Sherman, Bonham, and down to Garland, Texas.
Denison Mayor Robert Crawley says Watson especially made history in Denison.
Mr. Watson started out by wanting to own a root beer store. He did. He bought K&W root beer and he changed that into Watson Burger. And now you can still enjoy his products many, many years later.
The joy they got to hear about that from kids at the school across the street coming over to Watson Burger.
His lasting legacy includes Watson Burger on Morton Street and Watson's Drive-In downtown.
It is one of our Texas Treasures businesses, and that means that it was over 50 years old and it was authorized by the state.
Main Street Director Donna Dow says it's the oldest restaurant in Grayson County. Mayor Crawley tells me he visits every week to enjoy a cheeseburger with no onions or lettuce.
It makes me feel very special to have known him and to been able to still enjoy the food that he produced. His legacy included 7 Watson Burgers and 5 Kim's Fried Chickens across this area. And he also owned a catfish restaurant in Denison.
Watson was 95 years old when he died. Now his grandson operates the restaurants so that his legacy in Texoma lives on. In Denison, Talea Munson, News 12.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.